What's going on, everybody, and welcome to my first YouTube video on the channel. Today we are here to talk about Buggy and why Buggy is the best deck to come out of OP16. Wide boards, a lot of fun, a lot of swings, replacing your own bodies, everything like that. I've played many versions of the deck, and this is what we've actually came on. So I ran the version with the 10 cost Buggy to try to bottom deck stuff, specifically for the Teach matchup to bottom deck the big 10 cost. Played the Newgate version where you run a couple of those, having the big body is cool. What I've just realized with those is actually that it makes the deck a little bit slower than you want, because on your 10 Don turn, usually you want to set up for game that turn or the turn after, and not being able to use those Don to swing, except for Newgate on 2 of your bodies, actually just makes it feel a little bit worse, because the more they can establish a board in big bodies, the less you can kind of do. So what I've settled on is this bounce and bottom deck Buggy. Jozu, amazing card in this deck. You can return a prisoner after you swing with it, play it back out. What I've really liked actually is running the Gravity Blades. And that being in many matchups, this card actually wins me the game. In yellow, when they try to do their math and they either double Borsalino or play a Borsalino, usually you have enough bodies to swing through the life and go for game, but with the blockers, that's where you run into it. So being able to bottom deck their blockers, I usually have enough to go for game in those yellow matchups. Also very good into the Law Don Quixote matchup, where it's like they get out their loves or they get out, everything like that. And you can, just bottom deck those to where they think they leave enough blockers up for math and everything like that. So it's super good into that. Blackbeard's still iffy, but it is really nice to either bounce their trigger or bottom deck their triggers that they think they have math off of, because they're going to redirect regardless. But if you can get rid of the minus 3k or the resting a 6 cost, usually that leaves enough swings on board for you to win. Love this counter card. If they try to swing at this, it's just a target. You can bounce it back, replay it off, keep your body on board. Spam little blockers that can help you cheat out more prisoners and everything like that. This is the list I've settled on, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So let's get into the games. Alright, so our first game is going to be into the new Luffy and Ace. I do think with this hand that we mulligan and look for the 2, which we get. And we have Buggy, which is even better. So here we'll just play draw, pass. Now usually you like to go first, but it is what it is. And then we'll take that. That is fine. When your character's basically removed, it's just a 1k blocker, which is fine. So on this turn, actually, we're just going to swing 2 6s, play out another draw. And then after that, we'll establish Buggy. And we're actually looking like we're in a really good spot for a curve. So that's perfect. You probably swing that into this turn, which is fine. Lets me cheat out another prisoner. I guess that's the only cool thing compared to red-green Luffy. I feel like you don't get as punished for swinging with your weenies when they go to clear board, because then it's like you get to cheat out prisoners, which is always nice. And with double blocker, we have the sustainability. These being 2k counters just feels unreal. Rush on the 1k, which is perfect. Cheat out a prisoner. And then we'll take. 2 Galdino is also going to be huge for down the stretch. So this is nice because we don't have to overthink it. Just go here. We find the Jozu off the draw, which is nice. And then we'll just swing a couple more 6s, see if we can either take some life or some cards. So in this matchup, we really want to see Gravity Blade, because if you bottom deck this and like an Ace or just double Luffy, that's pretty much game from there. Jozu's nice to slow it down until we do see it. Being 8 next turn though, and all these bodies, I would actually love to see a Gravity Blade though. But Jozu being able to slow the game down one more turn for me is really good. blocker. That's fine, that's fine. He has 2 swings. So we will make you a blocker, and I'll give you a 1K. See what he swings here. If he goes into 6, that's better for me because I got on another prisoner. If not, he's just got to take a massive amount of swings this one. Which is play 1, swing 6, see if he blocks. Luffy effect, you can do that. Which gives us the 2K. So we are actually going to... it's either bounce the blocker or bounce the Luffy here, but he can play that next turn and get rush anyway. So we are going to bounce the blocker, reestablish another one, still have the 1 down up for the DOS bones, and then we get to swing a bunch of 6s, have a blocker up for next turn, and a million counter in our hand, which is nice. And then ideally, just if everything goes right, we have a million swings next turn, can play back out a prisoner, and we should be able to just go for game next turn. He's got to kind of try to end it here. So this has been kind of just a perfect example where you just cheat out so many bodies, so other decks that are just kind of... other swarm decks don't feel as strong because you just get to play blue, right? So this, the gravity blades, everything gets to slow it down. These being 2K counters make it to where even if he tries to divide for math and not play out anything, that's fine. This is the problem card, but we should still have math on board if she had to waste to play this. And a blocker, because I can Jozu to bounce another blocker if needed. You only have the 6Ks to swing, so I can counter out of every swing this turn. So I'm really not in danger with only 1 blocker on board. Just makes the blocker fun. I will 2K counter that just because. But I don't even think I have to because I think I just win here. No blocker, 3 swings, and a life up. You only have 1 blocker. How much counter do you have? I think I just swing 999 and end it. Yep. So just like that, easy peasy. Really good. I honestly don't think I've lost this matchup. Even if they get to swarm with the aces and stuff. The Peronas are the only thing that slows you down, but usually you just have such an established board and so much counter that it really doesn't matter. But awesome, that was just a good example for the first game with new cards. Try this, we do get to pick, so we'll take first from them. Normally here, I would consider mulliganing, but the Jozu's good in this matchup. And we do have A2 drop with double prisoners, so I think I'm going to go ahead and keep just because we're not going to be able to do anything on our first turn anyway, so we will get to draw that next card. Hopefully see a Buggy or something similar would be awesome. But if not, 2, swing a 6, see what we see. We have Croc that the turn after can still recycle stuff. We'll be able to play Jozu. He went ahead and grabbed Borsalino. Borsalino being searchable in this deck is insane. So we are just going to go swing and bones this turn. See some sort of law next turn, which is fine. Five is an awkward turn if you don't have Buggy in this hand. So if he swings, I do think I just take it. Him playing that before swinging is a huge misplay because I was going to take, so I would have 7, so this would rip 2. I think he's sitting there taking so long because he realized that. Maybe he miscounted or something, but we do take. I honestly do think it's just swing a couple 6s, draw a card. It sucks missing Buggy. It's not the end of the world, though. So we're getting cards. Next turn, I do think it's going to have to be a Jozu play because he probably gets to play other things. Now, the reason I left one up is because I might Slave Arrow to bounce this to cheat out a prisoner. If he swings at it, that'll put a counter back in my hand. I will just go ahead and give you the 1K. That's only because I imagine a Kobe's coming in here. So that'll put the 1K back in my hand, cheat out a prisoner to give me another body. Which is exactly what I thought he would do. So we will go for that. And you do want to save counter for late game, but it's in this matchup, the later that it goes, the more he gets to cheat out blockers, and it does get a little hard if you don't see enough of your block options and stuff like that. Or bounce options, I apologize. But so you do have to, another Jozu's good here. Because the plan this turn is to bounce this back to his hand. Swing, swing. Now you only get 2 swings out of it, which is fine. So we're going with the 6. He does just free block that. So that makes me want to possibly swing 2 6s and go for the croc play. And then I can always Jozu next turn, just because I wasn't expecting the block there. So the fact that he has no blockers up, this will at least give me a couple cards. Which it gets me an I love you there, which he gets nothing out of. And now it's either a Galdino play to just stun for a turn, or it's the croc play. Either way cheats me out a prisoner. This just saves the Bong Clay to hand. But I do think the drawing 2 here might be a little bit better. Because it helps me find the Buggy, which is perfect if needed. Can attack next turn, and we'll cheat out a prisoner. We have 1 Dawn up, nothing to do with it, but I think that's our turn. Buggy eventually, maybe. I do still think it's going to be, depending on what he swings at, it might be save some bodies, let this go, cheat out another prisoner, save this prisoner this turn. We'll see if he Sakazukis, or if he just plays another Rosy Law. So the Vorsley is nice. So if I see Tiger here, this is where the Gravity Blade is so huge in this matchup. Because he swings here, I cheat out another prisoner. If I can bounce these 2, leave him with 1 blocker up, and I get to just either rip an insane amount of cards or put him to 0 life, that's where the game just feels very good for me. So ripping 2 cards, one's a Jozu, the other's Buggy, so that's very unfortunate. He just goes 5. I will give you the 1. See if he swings another 5. He does. I'll take that one, hoping it's good, but it's not. So we do see the prisoner. We are at 9. So we do always still swing 6 here. If he free blocks that, that's fine. Ideally, he gives us a card out of his hand. The reason I'm bouncing this is I might have to draw a card. So I can always play this back out and reestablish this after the bounce. The problem here is Rosie's honestly the only good target here. I played that so wrong, so I forgot to attach my Dawn. Because that would have cheated out a prisoner for next turn. takes, which is weird. So now I have no reason not to swing 7s. Well, a 7 and a 6. Yeah, that misplay is huge. It might cost me, to be honest. Gives me 2 cards for that, which is nice. Can block, take that out. You probably see another Rosie come in next turn. We'll see how many blockers he throws out. He just goes to 0, so he's definitely, yeah, if I had that 4th body for next turn, even if he plays out a 4th blocker, I might just have enough swings. That's just such a huge misplay on my part. We just have to see if another Borsalino comes down is honestly best case scenario for me, because then he probably can't cheat out love or anything. Another hand rip law hurts me tremendously. -1, another law comes down, but what one is it? If he sees the 3rd hand rip law, it just is what it is. So I'm interested to see what he does here. Just 5 life. We'll just give you the 1K for that. I don't think he swings any of his blockers. Maybe 1, because then you think you have 3 on board and that. So he does see another blocker, so I am looking at 5 blockers. If I had 4 on board, this would at least be a good turn for me to go 1,000,000 into him. As long as I leave 4 down up, though, I can establish 2 blockers going into next turn. And see if even with the misplay, we're not out of this. Just Gravity Tiger, you see that, you're just going. I do have to just give you the 1K though for that. This is actually pretty big this turn. I think it'd be bigger next turn, but I definitely need to put pressure on his blockers. So we do that. Alright, we're at 7s. So the play is to go 4, to just go 4. So I might have to leave these 2 up just to play out a Bone Clay, but let's just start swinging a bunch of 7s. See what blockers he gives me, or what cards he gives me. Because then here, if he took that, I would just bot deck 2 of his blockers and then just establish so much. I wonder what's in his hand, though. I do think I swing this next turn regardless, depending if he blocks and just lets me have it. I do think I'm swinging here. Just to take a swing off board. Okay, so he gives me that. So here we get to do this, bounce a prisoner, play out the YONKO, cheat out a prisoner. Normally, I would say, do I just play the Mr. 2 over this? Just to draw the card. He's got 3 swings. That's where I do think I'm going to, just to be greedy, and then pick up another 2K counter is actually huge there. So if either of these are an event, we save the Don for that. If either of these are a Gravity Blade and we get to bot deck 1 of his swings, that's huge. We have 4 unrusted bodies on board. We have 2 blockers. Even with that huge misplay, I think we're still in a very good spot. He does have a million cards in hand, which kind of scare me though. So it's probably going to be 2 more blockers coming down. So we do see the 3rd Borsalino. And then we'll probably see a love. Yep. That's exactly what I was expecting. So now you hope that this 5 comes in just to do this, just to cheat out a prisoner. Or I take it and hope that it's a gravity blade. But I do think that this is just the better play for this turn. Because I do think this is another turn where I just get to rip a lot of cards out of his hand or off board. Seeing another prisoner is good. Just start swinging. Yep, the I love you. And he grabs. That's fine. Okay, so I only need to technically save 1 Don here. So I think I'm going a bunch of 8s, leaving a blocker up. 2, 4, 5, leave a Don up in case one of these is the event. 6k blocker, or 6k counter in hand. He's going to lose a significant amount of his board. He's got to grab that, but it's only a 1k. I'm just trying to swing a bunch of 8s. I mean, I know he just blocks with these 3, but even if I get to clear 3, that's just insane for me. And we have a bunch of prisoners to replace at least 1. So it's either we rip a bunch of cards from his hand or we rip a bunch of swings off his board when we're very wide, which is nice. Yep. We just don't want to give him the option to just free block any of these. I want to either make him block and take a card, or I want him to just lose swings. I mean, you can keep establishing like 3 blocker boards, but as long as we can make it through the Borsalinos and all the heals and stuff like that. Like I say, he still has a million cards in hand, so 2 life though, 6k block, and we have a blocker up. It's just, if he blocks this with Borsalino and takes the Borsalino, do we just swing this? Well, no, if he blocks with this and then gives the counter, do we just swing this to make him use the Borsalino? And then take a card out of his hand? I think the blocker is more important. I don't need to get greedy here. We're in a good spot. Just with having the blocker up still, I think is huge. That's understandable. Because I know we're going to see more Rosy Laws coming down. So I'm wondering... So I guess the only thing that huge misplay did was it just lowered my swings by 1, which I guess would just by now would probably be a couple cards out of his hand. And then not seeing my draws like the... How many are my trash? Yeah, he ripped 1. I probably used 1 as a counter, but the Galdinos would be nice here just for drawing. Like I said, I'm 1 gravity blade away from just winning. So that's always just a nice... But we've seen a 3 Borsalinos so far, so let's see if he plays out the 4th. Sacks another Sekazuki, gets a brick out of hand. Grab the 2k in hand. So that's the other thing. I know he has a million counter in hand right now, so that's why we just got to keep applying pressure, trying to rip the cards or clearing board and taking his swings. Because I don't mind losing one to replace itself and then countering on everything else. Like if you get rid of you and you just become another prisoner that I don't have to put a Don on, this makes it good for me. We can always see, you know, the event to make everything 7k, so the more prisoners on board, the better. The other thing about Buggy is it's pretty straightforward as long as you know what you're trying to do, so it's like even just the timer difference is insane. Like this has been a fucking game. But that's what yellow blockers do, they just stall. They just stall. That's the other reason I think I'm just too smooth-brained to enjoy the long stall games. Don't mind them taking forever though, because sometimes, you know, you gotta think it, because this might be the turn that decides it. You swing a 6 into life. Do you think I just give you the 2k there? I was not expecting that, but you can always just use the Don minus off yourself, so there's no reason not to. Another one, maybe draw another 2k, and then get rid of a brick. Yep. Let's see what he discards. Oh, this is just the search. He didn't draw one, discard one, right? Yep, so that's what I expected, and I expect one more blocker. But I guess if you play out one more blocker, you can't have I love you. It could have. I think I've only seen one I love you, so you could have a million I love yous. I've seen 2 of them. Yep, so he's in a good spot. I'm a gravity blade though. If I can just bounce these, I think that's just enough. I still think I want to play out the Jozu. Yep. And then we're swinging 7 still. Free block that one. I play Jozu over you. Bounce this. Bounce this. Play you back out. Keep 1 up just because if one of these is an event, that's huge. And then I think we just start getting cards. Alright, that's all 4 I love yous. A black with Borso and afford to save your Borso though. Was not expecting this game to be a 30-minute game though. It's on the timer though, so he's gonna have to speed it up a bit. Do I just swing into the Borso here then and make him give me a 1k, or do I swing life and try to make him give me 2? I keep blocker up. I don't think I ever die next turn, so it doesn't make sense not to make him give me a 2k. Yep, or just 2 cards. Yep, so that's really good for me. I still can free block, cheat out a prisoner, so I still have so many options. His timer is ticking. Buggy, just relentless pressure. Not enough swings to go for it. because we can keep bouncing back to your hand. It's when you get to play the multiple Jozus that feels really good. In long grindy games where it's not like a high cost deck. If somehow this was like Blackbeard and went this long, I lost 6 turns ago, but one thing I enjoy about One Piece, because I'm still new to the game compared to other things though, is games do get to go turn 8, you know, turn 5, turn 6, blah blah blah. It's like, even with the power creep, I think the Dawn system and decks being good enough with each other lets you just be able to keep playing is nice. I hate when both decks got to do what they want to do. You just want to block, stall, heal, try to chip, which you've done. I just want to swarm and keep pressure on you, which I've gotten to do. It's like I really enjoy those aspects to games. So I'm keeping 4 swings up for next. If you do go 6 into this or 7, I will give you my last counter, I believe. So I know you're going to go -1 and you're going to play out the Rosie Law again. Why wouldn't you? And then it's just, what do you have to play after that? Yep, drop another brick. So we've seen, like I said, we've seen all I love yous. So he might have slow beam if he leaves 2 up. Which that's the -1, so here comes the other Rosie, and then he draws off the Rosie, so you're still staying 7. Oh, it is just promo. I think he thinks he just has to go for it this turn, which he does. But unfortunately, you just could not think. Brick, brick. A little bit of counter. You know, we just keep whittling them down and then we take it eventually. You rush with this. I do have the 4K interest. So yeah, either way, it's a game. That is a GG, and that shows that Buggy can grind. If we seen any of our gravity blades, we just win 3 turns ago. But just, he healed enough. He did everything his deck wanted to do, and we still just won. Which once again is why Buggy is the best deck in OP16. Alright, and this is into Yamato, is going to be our next game. As much as I want to go first, I do think that taking second from Yamato is more important. We have the Buggy Prisoner, and I get to draw, but I do think I have to mulligan that. Which this seems fine. Now this matchup is a little weird for me because of the Kinemon getting plus cost and then all the 8 drops. Jozu and Gravity Blade kind of lose some of their value. But it's still not a game I'd say I lose more than I win, just from getting to go wide. Take that, gives me this, so I can swing 6/6 and play that and draw 1. That's actually the perfect turn next turn. That is insane. And just because Jozu's not the best, I will give you a 1K for that. As much as I do want to just take out the Nami, Kinemon comes in next turn. You give me that, obviously. Why wouldn't you? And honestly, instead of the Mr. 2, I think I'm going to put out the Ivankov just to start cheating out prisoners, but I actually think I want to draw. I lied. Galdino's so good in this matchup too. Stunning the 8Ks while you just keep swinging board is just so good. This is kind of the reason why I'm like, this matchup isn't terrible. Because we want him to do that, because we have a fuck ton of prisoners in hand, so that's good for me there. I think I swing, that's a crock play to cheat out another. And this is why, because this turn would be a Yamato turn where I already have to worry about so many swings, and this is one where I get to. Ground Death being in there is so awesome for me. See the event, so we're at 6, so we get to freely just swing 6s. Get some life, give me some counter. Play out the croc. Bounce ourself. Play ourself back out. Draw a card. Cheat on another prisoner. And then pass it there. So now on the Yamato, so the cool thing about like the Yamatos too is it only being 5k is they can't really clear your prisoners or your big stuff. So with that, I do just give you the 1k all day. Just if you waste 2 swings on it and I get to use prisoner, that's huge because then I just free block that. Play the Yamato, I can't free block your 8k anyways. So that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. You can't swing. You play out an 8k, depending which one you play. Oh, he cheated from trade. Did he use the event? Yes, he did. That's fine. We'll take. I'm honestly tempted to just take both, which is cool. And see if you try to answer me, or if you just answer that. Because all my plan is just make you use a fuck ton of counter. You're on Momomosuke next turn. That's fine. And then I cheat our Priz. That's fine. Because the game plan really here is just going to be to Galdino. So let's just swing a 6. You have no blockers. So I'm going to get a lot of cards out of his hand this turn too, which is nice. Which is why I'm swinging 2 6s. I'll play the Galdino here. Draw 2. Stun this. Play out another prisoner. Have a good amount of counter in hand still. We are going to keep 1 Don up. Takes a 7. Now, arguably here, we just swing them both at Kinemon and not life, but we probably get the same amount of counter regardless. Yeah, either way, he's going to counter out of them. We have another prisoner to cheat out. I can always Love Blade myself, depending on what his swing targets are. Yep. I do think all day of the week, though, I'm just going to keep giving you 1Ks for those swings. You can't swing this turn. I don't know why I didn't expect that. I don't know why, but that just caught me off guard. We will play out another prisoner off that. And I can bounce a prisoner to my hand if they swing. Because I'm assuming here comes Momomosuke. Like, I'm just assuming. At least I thought it might be another event into Yamato. I guess he didn't have it if he used them all. The game plan is to go for game next turn. Just flood it, keep taking cards out of his hand. No, he did have it. Yeah, that's why I was like, what is he doing? I don't mind countering everything. Strictly to keep cards in my hand. Because I'll give you a 1K if you swing your 6 into life. I'll just take. This couldn't have been a better draw. Yep, 8K. If you kill a prisoner here, it's a little weird for me. So I can save the prisoner. Or I can just let it go. And I think I just let it go. Okay, so we're 10. Just activate. Just swing a 7. He only has 1 blocker, so I think swinging 9s just takes it. But I do have the choice to just swing here and here. Little did he know I'm sitting here debating this harder than my head, and I'm debating it harder than I should have. But Buggy there, we have the slave, but just another good game. Yeah, this matchup, the bouncing isn't as good, but I think just Galdino, if you can stun him and delay him for a turn, and everything being 5Ks in this deck plays so much counter, I think it's just a really, really good matchup. The only matchups I seem to have a lot of trouble with are Teach feels 50-50. If I swarm and get enough swings, I'm good. But it's like, if it gets anything past 10 and he sees enough Zahahahas to where he's just burning life, putting it in your hand, and then just establishing big blockers to where you can take away 2 or 3 of your attacks, that's where it starts feeling rough. The bounce is good into that one if he's trying to play a bunch of like 1K triggers early and you can just keep bouncing those back to your hand. The only problem is he gives everything +1 cost on their turn, so you can't really bounce Shiryus and stuff like that because they're just all 6 costs. The same thing with Gravity Blade. But it's wide, so Blackbeard struggles against wide, so I'd say that one's a 50-50. What up, Bagel? I was about to text you back. This is just the outro. Yeah, Shanks is still hard, but not really, because these being 6Ks make Shanks a little bit easier than if you're on the blue-green Luffy, because then everything's 5K and the -1K really hurts you. This -1K still takes cards out of his hand. As you've seen, Yamato's pretty, 50-50, but I'd honestly say it's 60-40 mine, because I get to cheat out more bodies, and then everything's just low to the floor, so these being 2Ks makes it really easy. Other swarm decks, I just feel like you just pop off against them, like red-green Luffy, the ace Luffy from the beginning of this video, everything like that just feels super easy. And then the bouncing for the Rosie Law matchup just feels like you just take it. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and thanks for watching this video. You guys can find me on Twitch also at StrawHatScott, same as this YouTube channel, and thanks for watching my first YouTube video. Bye.